Check.
Good, how are you? You running the,
I'm Mike.
you Mike?
Yeah.
Neville?
No,
Oh.
I'm. He's downstairs. If you want to come down, we got pizza and everything down there. If you want anything, but no, I'll be producing.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah,
so,
I'll
yeah.
come down and say
Yeah,
hello.
come on through. Get a picture here.
Oh, that's okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Check, check. Okay, there we go. Now I can hear myself down there. Mike, can you hear me? Okay, I got you. I'm going to turn you down just a hair if that's all right. Okay. I've got some liners here, but I don't know if we're supposed to.
How do you pronounce Sasha's last? Do you go with Goris?
Garrett, Garez.
Garris,
Yeah.
Garris.
Yep, I can hear you.
Oh, beautiful. That's great.
Oh, I guess he was talking to you, Mike, not me, Mike. We got to get the right.
I'm trying to humor everybody.
Got to get the right mic here.
Yeah, no problem.
So watch what you're talking about us.
Yeah, most of that should be good.
Okay.
Mike, you got anything else you want?
No, pretty much what you've done for us before.
All right.
Stick to it.
The stream quality looks pretty good.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia for the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup 4th round 2015 edition, as the Columbus Crew SC from Major League Soccer is in town as they are taking on the homestanding Richmond Kickers. I'm Mike Neville, pleased to be joined by Neil Sika, who is the play-by-play voice for the Columbus Crew. And Neil, first of all, it's great to have you along with us.
Mike, pleasure to be with you. Thanks for having me, and good to be here in Richmond.
Yeah, it's we got a warm one, but not quite as warm as it has been the last couple of nights, that's for sure. And we're looking forward to a great matchup. This is the Crew's opening game in the U.S. Open Cup. Give us a little indication as far as some of the key players you think we should watch for on the Columbus side of things.
Yeah, but this competition, Mike, it's something near and dear to Columbus's history. The first trophy in the history of the franchise, 2002, and a chance here with a weekend off from league play to maybe look at what they're going to put together for the 24th when they return against the New England Revolution. So a mix of some starters here tonight and some reserves that haven't gotten a lot of action, but a chance to play an attractive style and come here against a team they are very, very mindful of with the defeat back in 2011. While there was a different coaching staff, a different group, Richmond going on that magnificent run to the semifinals. Should be a good one.
And, of course, the Columbus Crew SC as Major League Soccer. Now, their last match in Major League Soccer was a 1-1 draw with the LA Galaxy, correct?
That was the case, yeah. Tale of two halves. They struggled in the first half after a 2-hour and 10-minute weather delay, came back out in the second half, moved the ball quicker. There was guys not staying stagnant within the form of the attack. So they were able to find through and get the tying goal from Federico Higuain. Ethan Finley, the MLS assist leader, who will start tonight. He's looked pretty good all season long, setting the table. We'll get a chance to work in a little more of an up-top formation. But a solid point as they try and break out of that funk here through the early portions of the summer at 0-3-3 in their last 6.
As far as the Richmond Kickers go, their last outing was a scoreless draw with Montreal FC, and be quite honest, not a good showing by the Kickers. You looked at the standings, the Kickers were third in the Eastern Conference at the time, and Montreal FC was last, so on paper it looked like it was going to be an easy night for Richmond, but that was hardly the case, and they also had to deal with a couple of injuries, most notably Brian Ownby, who was out as we're not sure if it's a collarbone or separated shoulder, but he's out, not on the roster tonight. Also, Troyer had a hamstring, but Troyer will be starting tonight for the Richmond Kickers. So this time, we are going to have the playing of our national anthem here at City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia. All right, getting ready for the opening kickoff for this evening's U.S. Open Cup 4th round matchup between the Columbus Crew SC and the Richmond Kickers. Columbus will be in the yellow, or I should say it's black and gold, isn't it? I made a mistake there.
Right on, my friend.
Right off the bat, I make a mistake. They're in the black and gold, the gold uniform with the black trim, and the Kickers in their home red uniforms with the white trim. And, Neil, usually when you talk about a visiting team, no matter what the situation, you want to get off to a good start, get a goal or two, and take the home crowd out of it. Is that something you're looking forward to as far as Columbus's attack?
Absolutely. I would think both teams are looking for the dynamic of playing their game and their style. You don't have a lot of time to prep, watch game film in these situations. You're so consumed with your league. And if you get the first 15 minutes going to your liking, then you can feel a little bit more confident in how this game goes along. We've seen some wild finishes through the history of the U.S. Open Cup, even going late last night, whether they're MLS teams, whether it's an MLS against a USL side. So we see that here tonight with a team like Columbus who knows that Richmond has played well in their league. They're solid in the Open Cup after their first 2 victories. And they have the home crowd advantage, too.
Exactly right. Our center referee this evening is Kevin Terry Jr. His assistants are Charles Carson and Hagen Barnett. Our 4th official this evening here at City Stadium is Matthew Franz. And we're looking forward to this matchup. And this U.S. Open Cup has been around for a long time. And like you said, Neil, it is important for these teams, whether they be MLS, whether they be USL, or maybe even an NASL team that might be able to make it this far. But this is a big deal. They like to win, This, for example, last season, I believe, was DC United, had a terrible, now actually 2 seasons ago, had a terrible regular season, but ended up winning the U.S. Open Cup, and that was a big deal for them.
Gives you hope
yeah.
when you're not maybe playing up to form in your domestic league and season, and you make that great example of DC United and their run a couple of years ago, another chance to win some hardware.
Right, exactly right. So getting ready with the opening kickoff, and Columbus is the one that has the opening kickoff to get things started here at City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia. Mike Neville and Neil Sika along with you. And again, Neil is the play-by-play voice of the Columbus Crew. I hope you get a chance to listen to him, and does a great job, I'm sure. My first chance, of course, working with him. I'm looking forward to it. And right off the bat, good short passing game going on. His possession is held until I jinxed it for him. Here's Owusu now spinning out of trouble for the kickers at midfield. And now the ball is played forward. The Crew SC got a foot on it, and now Richmond is in possession. Here's Troyer as he handles. Drops it back now to Hugh Roberts. So Neil, right off the bat, about a 30 seconds or so, good possession by the Crew and Crew SC.
Yeah, and they're going to provide a little bit of pressure each way as Ethan Finley, who's playing a little bit higher than normal, normally that right side of midfield, and going into William Yambi, who uses the leverage to take him down, but it's a play on.
Yeah, Yambi is a veteran defender for the Kickers who is very solid in the back as the ball is now played back to the goalkeeper, Brad Stuver. What can you tell us about the goalkeeper?
Brad Stuver was excellent in the exhibition against Valencia, long range, Cleveland native, finally getting his chance. He was a pool goalkeeper 2-3 years ago. The injuries to Matt Lampson have kind of worked him in to the second unit, and his play against Valencia even elevated that further. So he's getting the go here tonight.
So you're expecting a very good game from him, obviously, because, like you say, he's got some experience and has played well.
Not only excellent saves against the 4th-place team from La Liga, nearly scored a goal to tie it late, and all for fun and posterity's sake in the end. But those moments can inspire you, bring some confidence as a player.
Exactly right. Now it's Richmond's turn to deal with a little possession as Schiffman plays it back to Roberts in his own end of the field, getting some pressure now from the Crew SC, from Bedell. And now the ball is played back to Ryan Taylor in goal. Just underway here at City Stadium, the U.S. Open Cup. And that ball, as I think Yambi was expecting an offsides flag, never came up. And the ball is cleared away by Yambi to midfield. And now the ball is controlled by Columbus Crew SC from Major League Soccer. And as we mentioned before, this is their opening match in this U.S. Open Cup.
You know, Mike, in the alignment in the regular season, they'll usually work with a 4-2-3-1, and it's not too dissimilar, even though they list the formation here tonight is a 3-1-4-2. You're still operating with 3 in the back. That usually stretches with your defensive midfielder going in between the center backs. The only difference is you're offering a little bit more support up top to a guy like Bedell, and Finley kind of playing off of him. Bedell's a guy who went on loan to the Austin Aztecs. Hasn't had a ton of minutes this year, but a chance maybe even for some restitution. He had a red card in their first Open Cup game last year, the win in extra time against Indy 11.
And Neil, it looks like Bedell is a big target because he's got some size. Looks like he is very good with balls in the air.
16 games, 8 starts last year in league play for a guy that was noticed at their collegiate combine. He's got the size and the range. Sometimes it's the footwork as he's adapted and become a better player. He was playing the 10 role, believe it or not, against Valencia at times, which he did at Detroit Mercy in college from here and there.
And you mentioned a lot of times, and we talked about this on our last Richmond broadcast or a couple of broadcasts ago, when you have big guys, sometimes their footwork is a little sketchy. That's something that our guy, or meaning the Richmond Kickers, Jason Yeisley, has really worked on and has really improved this season with his ability to put the ball down on his foot and either create a pass or dribble through some defenders, and that's something he's really worked on.
His soccer intelligence made him a 2-time Player of the Year in the Big Ten at Penn State, and got him a cup of coffee with FC Dallas. But you're right, Kai Kamara has added that other dimension with that footwork this year for Crew SC. That's a great ball by Spies. Great
ball, and there's a shot. Oh, sending that one over the crossbar. Boy, that was a great opportunity for 19, and that's Finley. Boy, that was a great ball in.
Well, already paying dividends with him tucking inside a little bit more, being able to work inside of the fullback, and Spies has had some excellent touches in the early going. Well noted for being the primary backup to Federico Higuain over the last couple of seasons. Excellent distributor. Tends to play a little bit higher up in the formation, but those two seem to be trying to click early on through the first 5 minutes.
So the first real scoring opportunity goes to Columbus Crew SC as Taylor drilled that one on a play to be a throw-in for Crew SC. Ball played back now. Again, Columbus Crew SC is in the gold uniforms with the black trim. Richmond in the red uniforms with the white trim as the ball is played on the near side. And when I say near side, it's the far side of the stadium. I hope I'm not confusing folks, but our broadcast booth is set up on the far side. You get a good look at the crowd that's on hand here at City Stadium. That ball's played in well and just missed, hooking up with Bedell. Well, that was a great opportunity.
One of the reasons Hector Jimenez has moved into that right back role or on the right side and gotten more minutes since the departure of Hernan Grana, his conversion and being comfortable with that position from last season, but his ability to serve a good final ball. The instinct and touch off the forehead there. It's a good run by Bedell, and now that Columbus has settled in a little bit more with their possession, the movement is good. The key with Richmond sitting back for at least the black and gold, ball reversal, keeping it moving, quick tempo. That's what Greg Berhalter, head coach and sporting director, loves to see.
And they've got to be absolutely thrilled with the way they're out to start to this contest, Neil, because they are possessing the ball. They've had a couple of scoring opportunities already. So I would think if you're a fan of the Columbus Crew SC, you've got to be pretty happy the way they're performing.
The most important thing, of course, they want the result here tonight, but to keep the momentum and the good feeling and play that they had in the second half against LA. Inconsistent at times over the last month and a half, taking something positive, especially going off from league play. Whether you're playing in this Open Cup or another league game, it's adapting, it's continuing that and being able to generate chances, positive movement, and a positive feeling going home.
And it's not easy. You mentioned there was over a 2-hour delay in the last match with the LA Galaxy. That's not easy to come back on the field and play. But like I say, I'm impressed with Columbus's possession here. And like I said, they've created a couple of opportunities. Richmond has not had a lot of possession.
Mike, I'll tell you, I'm even more impressed with the 8-hour bus ride that the team took. They went old school. They stepped into USL territory and had some fun on the way down to Richmond. Of course, you can go into D.C. and drive down, but there's not really a great direct way to come in. A little bit more team building and no signs of that early. The legs look good.
Yeah, and like I say, sometimes that's the best thing to do is drop back and do a little old school. Like you said, it gets a little bonding going, a little team chemistry going, and it seems to have worked so far because, like I say, the Columbus Crew SC has had probably 75-80%, if not more, possession here in front of the home folks of the Richmond Kickers. That ball's chipped ahead. Basso got a head on it for Richmond, and now Bedell settles. As again, Columbus with possession. And the ball was knocked away as number 6 had it, Chani. And,
his confidence, his game. He had a breakout season last year. Great pass to help set up the goal on Saturday against LA, but he's had different midfield partners. He had gone through a stretch where he had played 35 of 41 games with Will Trapp. He's been out with concussion issues over the last 2 months and playing with Kevon George, Mohamed Saeed mostly, so trying to find a little bit more rhythm out of him because he's so important with linking that defense to the attack.
Right, exactly. And that ball is put in on goal, but Taylor will handle it with no problem for the Richmond Kickers. This is the U.S. Open Cup 4th round, the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup from City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia. Mike Neville and Neil Sika along with you. And Neil, we were talking before we started. That ball was headed away, and the Crew, nice touch to keep that ball in play. But we were talking before we started, and you said a lot. One of the problems the Crew have experienced is the inconsistency of an everyday lineup. They've had a lot of different parts to the puzzle, if you will.
Injuries, call-ups, and just games in rotation. 3 and 8 in their last spell. Only took 1 point out of that sequence. Different backline combinations more than anything, and it's team defending. It's not only the back four in front of a guy like Steve Clark, the starting goalkeeper, since his time taking into the position last year, but as a group, as a whole, that dynamic. Individual concentration, not having those breakdowns.
Good overlap here by Troyer. Quick one-touch into the box, but it was knocked away. And now Troyer will regain possession, play it back to Schiffman. And now Schiffman to Owusu. He tried to loft the ball into the box, trying to hook up with Garner. And now Columbus with possession. That ball is played ahead, and Yambi gets a head on to flick it out of play.
And I liked Owusu's, his ability just to quickly make that turn, feed it to the outside. Troyer's been excellent, very versatile, as you know, with his ability to play all over the back line. The ball just lacked a little weight on the service in.
Back comes Richmond on the attack. Ball played off to Schiffman, and Schiffman again lofting one into the box. Garner will try to track that down, but the Columbus player will get to it before he does.
Now, this is still the ups and downs and maybe the inconsistencies of the lineup, but these unforced giveaways here out of the midfield. If teams are going to sit back, they'll say, fine, we'll break and counter when we get the opportunity. And a little bit of a spell of that here over the last minute or so.
You're exactly right. So it'll be a goal kick after that shot sailed over the crossbar. Ball played back to Stuver in goal as he maintains possession here in the first half here at City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia. Columbus Crew SC from Major League Soccer. We expected a big crowd, and not too bad of a crowd here at City Stadium, and I think they're still filing in.
I'm a fan of how it was 10 degrees cooler.
Yeah.
It makes a world of difference here in this swampy area.
You're not kidding. That ball is played over in front of the home fans, and a giveaway there. And now Owusu looks for some help and finds it with Garez. And he drops it back to Owusu.
Here's the one thing Ethan Finley may have to do to help bend speeds. Without a guy like Federico Higuain in the lineup, he moves so much and creates a lot of opportunities, even if defenses are sitting back. I mentioned Spees playing a little bit higher up, trying to get in between the lines, but maybe a little bit more stationary in that role. So if Finley can tuck in and provide some support, or even a Steindorsen, that'll help those defensive midfielders link with the play.
Steindorsen just had the ball a moment ago for Columbus Crew SC as they continue to hold possession. And we're going to whistle on a foul as Basso is whistled. And let's see, just a verbal warning here. Here's a look at some of the crowd, the Red Army and the rest of the crowd here at City Stadium in Richmond for tonight's Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup 4th round.
I'd ask you, Mike, they got to be excited. I mean, a pretty good start to the regular season.
Yeah, they're like I say, very disappointing draw last Saturday night here at City Stadium against Montreal FC. But for the most part, they've had some big wins on the road, and they've been playing well up until, like I say, last Saturday night. And they've been doing it with like 3 or 4 different goalkeepers. One was called up by DC United. Then they had injuries, but Ryan Taylor is in goal for, I believe, the 3rd or 4th straight match now. But they much like Columbus in that sense, have relied on their depth to provide some key goals and key quality minutes for the kickers.
It was a good ball on the last set piece by Spees. Bedell showing his size.
Yep. Ball played back now to midfield as Columbus Crew SC is in possession. Now the ball, here's Wall as he has possession, some real estate to work with. Lofts one into the box, looking for Bedell. That sailed over his head. And then Garner comes back and plays it to Garez. And Sasha, a quick challenge there and a shot that sailed over the goal. Good challenge and a good steal. And then that shot was ripped high and just over the crossbar.
Johnny's a guy who's matched his career high in goals in the regular season with 2 this year. Let it fly, take some opportunities, although a bulk of the possession, but not a lot to test Ryan Taylor so far in the Richmond goal.
You know, folks, USsoccer.com is your source for full coverage of the 2015 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, and you can also follow coverage of the tournament on Twitter at Open Cup. And a foul is whistled. Columbus. So Richmond now will have the free kick. Richmond is much like Columbus, which has tremendous following. In fact, there's a sign over on the far side of Columbus. I met a couple of young fans who, one guy was doing an internship in D.C., and he came down to watch the game, and I was talking to him. So tremendous following by Columbus, but Richmond also, Neil, you don't have a franchise that's been around for over 20 years.
Correct.
And have that, they've had some success, obviously, as soccer has kind of grown here in the Richmond area, in Richmond, Virginia, much like it has in Columbus.
Well, they've built a winning tradition under the steady presence of Lee Collishaw.
Yep.
11 straight playoff appearances across the levels.
And
won some titles, the Great
Yep.
Open Cup run in 2011. Very competitive, and Columbus knew that coming in.
Yeah, I'm sure the Columbus Crew SC has not taken this team lightly, and looks like Richmond's got their footing on them, a little bit, Neil. They're playing possession a little bit more. Columbus has still probably carried most of the play, but I think, wouldn't you agree that Richmond looks like they're starting to get their footing a little bit and kind of getting into this game?
I would, and I think as long as this game goes on, continues to be scoreless, with Crew SC not finding the net, there's more confidence from this Richmond side. Even though they're defending a lot, the belief amplifies. Always does in these types of games.
Exactly. There was a foul whistled against Chani. So it'll be Richmond with the free kick. So the Kickers will have the free kick here. We're scoreless in Richmond, Virginia at City Stadium. Mike Neville and Neil Sika along with you. Neil will have the call in the second half, so you Columbus fans get tired of me, you'll hear a familiar voice when Neil will take over the second half play-by-play. And like I say, had a chance to talk to Neil earlier this week, and we talked a little bit, and like I say, enjoy him coming down here and helping us out. My usual partner, Mark Bushman, is on vacation, and I'm not sure if he's watching. He was going to try to, when you're on vacation, that's one of those low priorities, Neil. As you well know.
With a last name like Neville, you've got to be hospitable, and you certainly have been. So it's great to be here.
There's an opportunity as Wall plays it up now, going to number 7, Steindorsen, and he's looking for Bedell, and Roberts stepped in front of him. Good decision by Roberts, because that had a little pace to it on that chip ahead for Bedell.
Now the tempo needs to pick up here if it's your Columbus. The middle is crowded. Work it wide. Get runners in the area.
Kevon George played that one over. Now it's dropped back to number 6, Chani. And he's got Wall at midfield. Now this Columbus Crew SC team will not panic. They are showing a lot of composure and, like I say, very impressed with their possession. And like I say, they've had about 2 or 3 opportunities here in the early going.
One of the things that I like, Mike, that the Kickers are doing with their fullbacks, they're extending a little bit pressure out when the ball works inside, so they won't allow Steindorsen or even a Wall or Jimenez to work down the line.
Yeah, like I say, Yambi is the quarterback of that defensive backfield for Richmond, and he does a great job directing traffic. And number 8, Hugh Roberts, has really picked up his game, Neil, in the last month or so. He's been inserted into the starting lineup. There's a cross, and it's in the back of the net. I think Bedell got a head on it. And that's where that size comes in. Great ball that was lofted into the middle.
I talked earlier about Ben Spees' movement in this first half. He goes out, he forms a nice little triangle, gets the pass from Jimenez. That opens up a little more space and a crevice in the channel. You got your big man inside. Excellent finish by Bedell. I know that feels good. Mentioned the red card in last year's game against Indy 11. He went off in the first half. But that nice run there and a fine cross by Spees.
And Bedell was able to get the header just before Ryan Taylor could get to it in goal for Richmond. So Columbus Crew SC's on top thanks to Bedell's goal. Adam Bedell And we told you he's got some size and he's good with the ball in the air, and he proved it right there. Here's Troyer sending one. That's chested down and nicely played back to the goalkeeper, Stuver. And Troyer got a head on it, but Columbus regains possession. And here is Kevon George for Columbus Crew SC.
Now these next 5 minutes, very interested to see what the kickers do. What's their response level? They're going to still sit back and absorb a little bit pressure. They're going to try and press this back line a little bit more, create some opportunities in the attacking half in transition.
Ball is rolled forward. Yeah, they certainly, that's a great point that you make, Neil, as far as they're allowing the Columbus backline to kind of just survey the field and do what they want. That ball's played in, and Roberts just got a foot on it. Another good run by Columbus Crew SC. That ball, and goalkeeper will handle that outside the box.
Very nice idea by Steindorsen, who hasn't hit the score sheet yet, but he's found himself in some good positions as he adapts to the physicality of the league. And that was just a long run for Finley to complete that pass, but we'll see if Richmond can do anything off this turnover.
Here's Owusu now playing it off to Schiffman, gets a return pass. Owusu trying to spin out of some pressure that's being given to him by the Crew SC. I think it was actually Spies that was giving him the pressure. And now it's Columbus again as George taps it over, gets a return pass. And a good read there as Richmond now in possession. Schiffman drops it off to Callahan. He's looking for Garner, but well defended that time by Columbus. That was Barson, number 21. Did a nice job of holding his position and getting ahead on it. Here's a look at that goal again, Neil, coming up. Good build-up by Columbus.
And it starts with that interior run and movement, and then working it wide.
Now the
with
possession.
Spies calling for help, and fine cross in the end.
And that ball's nudged away by Sasha Garez. Now Sasha, nice quick pass to Callahan. Richmond has not mounted much of an offensive attack here. Trying to, here's Schiffman off to Owusu. Here's Asante. Haven't called his name much. Usually Asante is involved quite a bit. Here's Asante, and good stick that time. It was a nice stab to deny Asante any further progress.
Barson's strength is on the defensive side, even though he's had his fair share of games at right back and will go up the wing. He's very steady defensively. They're confident with him there. He's done everything that's been asked of him, and now has helped start this sequence.
Oh, into the box. And a nice play that time by Hugh Roberts. Well, I thought there was a golden opportunity. And the ball's maintained possession now by Columbus. The ball is played off. And here's a cross. Look out for Bedell. And Troyer was trying to defend him and did. Here's Schiffman now for Richmond as they try to get the counter going. Here's Garez. Sasha, nice pass ahead to Schiffman. And tracked down by Callahan. Mike Callahan, good ball. Here's a shot, and Owusu knocked that one over the crossbar. Good build-up, though, from the Richmond kickers.
Very nice. Kept their composure. Owusu follows the play. One of the things that's tough when you're sitting back and defending as much as they are, to add more width. They're very narrow trying to break on the counter. They could use some width of the field, getting numbers forward, but that was a good cutback pass.
Here's the ball played ahead. Good job stepping there by Yambi, stepping in front of that pass attempt. And here's Garner. Eli Garner. And they're going to get a foul. And Garner is still holding that ankle. So a great opportunity here for the kickers from about 30 yards out or so.
And just a little clumsy from Tony Chani. It's not that Garner was thrown on the afterburners there.
Right.
As we've hit the midpoint of this first half, but the back and forth of giving it up in your own attacking half and then having to retreat to your defensive end.
So a great opportunity here for Richmond with this free kick, again, from about 30 yards. Garner is up. So now the key here for the goalkeeper, Stuver, is to make sure you can see, and of course you can see him directing traffic. Garez is very good. This looks like an opportunity for the veteran Garez. Now he steps over, and the ball played in, and in the back of the net. Beautiful set piece, and it's Schiffman that got the goal. He just snuck behind the defenders, and we're tied.
Almost like moving in slow motion. If you're Richmond, these are the opportunities you have to have. You're not going to have a lot of the ball. Take advantage of set pieces.
And like you said, it was a clumsy foul. Really was an unnecessary foul because Garner was just dribbling a little bit. Here it is again, and he just nudged it in. Nate Schiffman, I believe, is the one who's going to be credited with the goal, number 21.
Well, a really good game in their first one against Virginia Beach City, and sneaks behind on that run of Hector Jimenez to redirect that past Stuver. So a nice response by the kickers.
So I guess they're saying Owusu is the one who's going to be credited with the goal. And it's a 1-1 tie.
Well, even if Schiffman didn't give enough of the ball or didn't get the ball, that run was enough of a distraction for Stuver's late react to try and cover up that post.
And, Neil, Columbus might have been like us, or me, thinking that Sasha Garez, the veteran who's so good at putting free kicks on goal, thought maybe he was going to take it, and lo and behold, it's Owusu.
Yeah, you take a check mark next to that. Next 5 minutes, the response from Richmond. Find their way back into the game. If you're Columbus, you maybe ease off the gas a little. You feel confident you've gone up one, and then one sneaks by you there. But for a guy of Chani's range, there's no reason he can't win that ball in that defensive third.
So it's a goal kick now, or excuse me, that's a free kick for Richmond. Looking for Troyer. Troyer now off to Owusu. Richmond with a little bit of life now, a little bit more excitement. Ball played for Troyer. He's going to run onto that. Quick one touch into the middle. And that hopped over the head of Garris, but he let it go to Asante, his shot. And Troyer can't keep up with it. It'll be a goal kick for Columbus Crew SC.
Here is where the width, or at least the fullbacks, guys like Basso or Troyer, can cause a little bit of problems for Crew SC, because in this alignment where you're playing primarily with three in the back, Steindorsen has to cover a lot of ground. Jimenez has to cover a lot of ground. There's opportunities out there if they can get the ball wide.
Now the ball is played off to Wall here. Crew SC takes on the New England Revolution. That's coming up on Wednesday, June 24th, a week from tonight, 7:30 at Maffrey Stadium.
Maffrey
Stadium. Thank you very much. And you can get your beer and brat pack starting at only $30. That pack includes a match ticket, an ice cold beer, and a delicious brat. Minimum purchase of 2. Visit ColumbusCrewSC.com to get your beer and brat pack today.
Who wouldn't like that on a hot summer night, right?
I'll take that right now.
2, please.
So here's possession for Crew SC in this 1-1 tie in this fourth round of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Mike Neville and Neil Sika along with you. Again, Neil will handle the play-by-play duties in the second half. There's the ball played off to number 7, Steindorsen. Here's Wall. He's got some real estate, still carrying it. Into the middle he goes. Nice job of touching it down. Shot blocked, though, by Yambi. Almost started a counter. Good job by Columbus, though. And the Crew SC. Not sure who that was, but he broke up a real danger. There's a shot. And Taylor has to be sharp to nudge that one away.
Finally, a little bit of movement in that sequence from Ethan Finley. Chani had the initial one that's blocked, but Mike, here's some of the problems that Columbus has endured over the last couple of games. Stagnant. Maybe they're a little bit tired now as we get closer to the half hour. Mentioned the bus trip.
Right.
Moving around. It's all about the movement within Greg Berhalter's system. And there are too many bodies that are stationary. When you're trying to break down 9-10 behind the ball, that is tough to do.
So Spies, will take this corner kick, which I believe is the first one tonight. And that ball is headed away. Here's a follow-up shot. And Taylor pounces on the loose ball. Was just sitting there. And Taylor, which is what you want your goalkeeper to do, said enough of this. I'm going to jump on it and halt play for a moment.
Now a good ball in.
Yeah.
Didn't clear the lines all the way. Gave Steindorsen a look, but so many in front of that face a goal.
Troyer will settle for Richmond near midfield. And the ball comes free to Schiffman. And Schiffman now drops it off to Callahan. Lays it back to Troyer. And Garner's offsides. That was an easy call.
Garner, who of course had some time in the Dayton area with the Dutch Lions, was trying to take advantage of Pogatet's maybe stepping into the hole there.
So here's Wall. And the ball quickly nudged ahead to Bedell. Now he lays it back off and gets a return pass, and then Owusu got a foot on it. And now the ball is played. And now into the middle, and Nyambi knocked it away as making a nice run was Finley.
See, and that's the difference. That's much better from Crew SC. The footwork of Bedell, he gets involved, he comes back deeper in the midfield, links up with a guy like Speeds, and then you quickly switch it to the other side.
Here's Wall lofting one into the box, headed away, settled down, and that cross attempt blocked away by Basso. Again, quick restart by Columbus on the throw-in. As Crew SC controls near midfield. Ball's played off. That's Barson. And now here's George off to Wall. And here is Steindorsen. And again, Columbus now just possessing, trying to work that Richmond defense. The ball is chipped into the box, comes free. And Steindorsen and Taylor had to climb the ladder and make that stop.
That was a fine touch off of his shoulder by Steindorsen to work that back across and loft it into Taylor's path. But there's Chani sitting out on the wing. There's three guys standing at the top of the 18 waiting for some type of movement. Right. There was none.
Throw in for Troyer now for the Richmond Kickers, all knotted up, one apiece. It was Bedell putting Columbus on the board. And then a little while later, it was Owusu off a free kick, evening things up for Richmond. And now it is Columbus again with possession. Chani playing it ahead. And here's George. Kevon George kind of directing traffic for the Crew SC.
And the rhythm, it's dropped off a little bit. Kind of gotten a little stagnant, just the pace of the game in general.
Here's George now again playing it. Ball chested down by Yambi. Here's Owusu. And now Yambi, who made that defensive play, is sprinting down the field.
He wants to remind everyone that he's athletic and a four-time USL first-team selection.
Well, his best spot is on the defense, I can tell you that, because we've seen him a couple of times here at City Stadium with some of his shots that are not on frame. Throw in for Columbus. Here's Wall. Hey, Columbus fans, don't forget Crew SC 5 match plans are now available and offer the flexibility to select the matches that work best for your schedule. 5 match plans start at $23 per match.
That's one heck of an interior run by Hector Jimenez. Notice the defense sagging, running with pace up the wing, then cut it in field. Scored a fabulous goal against DC United all the way back in last April. And while it's been a while since he tallied a goal, he does have that in his bag when he chooses to use it.
So now another corner kick for Crew SC, as Spees will take this one once again. Their second corner kick. I don't believe Richmond has had one tonight yet. So here's Spees. And that's headed away by Yambi. Follow-up shot was blocked. And Owusu's in a battle. As Crew SC, they'll play it back to the goalkeeper. And he'll just touch it forward for Crew SC. Here's George off to Wall. Columbus, I think you'll agree, Neil, has had the better scoring opportunities, but where it counts on the scoreboard, it's still knotted up at 1.
Yeah, and that's a question we ask a lot from time to time. As well as this team can possess the ball, play into the mid-third and into the attacking third, what polish do they have left to finish off plays? The execution. It's been ratcheted up this year with the addition of Kai Kamara, the league's leading goal scorer. But can't always rely on him. You're going to need that midfield to start clicking along that helped chip in for over 50 goals last season, which was 3rd in club history.
Well, that's one thing in the USL play with regard to the Richmond Kickers, Neil. They have 4 guys that have at least 4 goals, led by Matthew Delicat's team leading 6 goals. And so you really can't concentrate on one player because they've spread out their scoring throughout the season. And
with Deli, as you like to call him. Of course, Deli's been popular in the Cleveland circles over the last 2 weeks. But the club's all-time leading scorer on the bench and available, and is Chani with his 3rd foul, 4th in the league in that department. A little bit too much for the liking of Kevin Terry Jr. picks up the caution.
And the crowd certainly helped the official would make that call. And Stuver was able to handle that one in the air. Winding down this first half here at City Stadium, the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. 4th round. Good ball. That's a great ball played forward. Chipped over, and Roberts with the spinning header. Here's the follow-up, though. Nice move. Oh, and a nice play by Yambi. And here's Owusu.
And he had to make that play.
Yes, you're right. Here's Owusu starting to. Oh, boy. That's kind of a wasted opportunity there. He had Garner to his left and Callahan to his right and decided to just put one on goal, which I don't know.
And Chani had the excellent touch and turn to spring Finley down the sideline with that initial ball. Secondary runners were coming. Jimenez tried to follow up. Yami makes a nice individual play. And Chani on the flip side had to be alert. George missed the first attempt at Owusu. And now on a yellow, you can't take that or else you're likely gone.
That's a good point. So here is Crew SC in possession. Here's Wall. Gets a return pass. From what I've seen for Tyson Wall, he is a solid back in that back line for Columbus Crew SC.
Consummate pro, been a journeyman.
Here comes Asante. Good ball now as he lays it off. Sasha Garez puts it into the box. And it just floated over Asante's head. So that's where Asante wishes he was about 6'3".
And that's where you want better communication. Pogatet's there to kind of rescue that in front of Stuver, but either come off the line because of Asante's pace. We haven't seen it at work too much in this first half, but excellent run down Broadway to work it out wide and then get the return.
Yep. So back comes Kevin George for Columbus Crew SC.
That is where this counter of Richmond can be very effective, especially with the wingers playing more high than usual and having some defensive responsibility that might lack because they're so high up the field.
Again, Spees trying to hook up with Bedell. Schiffman plays it forward for Garner, and that's going to be nudged away that time by Pocates. Here's Wall. He nudges it over to Kevon George. And ball played now. Here's a cross. And it came low. Bedell, that first touch eluded him. He just couldn't get a full foot on it. And it went wide.
Yeah, just a brief step by Ethan Finley to kind of drag William Yambi along with him. Hugh Roberts, who's been very stout partnering with him. Just enough to try and maybe cut off that angle as Bedell tried to square his hips.
You know, Neil, one thing I've noticed in doing these Open Cup games is that these teams, meaning specifically Richmond because that's the team that I've been covering, but they are not intimidated by Major League Soccer. These guys are, of course, a lot of these guys, not a lot, but some of them are on loan to teams and so forth, so they're not, like I say, not intimidated by playing Major League Soccer.
Yeah, nor should they be.
Right.
And if this league at D3 status now eventually wants to become D2, the player quality is going to get better. You've gotten guys who have been journeymen, kept core tact here in Richmond with guys like Delicat and Yambi.
That ball headed up.
They've been in some battles and been successful in those. And competitions like this are the reason why.
And now Here's Asante back to a good stuff there by Richmond as Callahan gets sprung free. Here's Asante. Lays it off now to Schiffman as the counterattack for Richmond. Schiffman looking for some help. Good ball as he finds Owusu. And good job by George that time to step in front of that pass. And that's a little high as Asante went down.
And
or Owusu, excuse me.
Even though the high boot from Spees clearly incidental.
Yeah, exactly.
Knew that right away.
Yep. Good sportsmanship as he went over to check on Owusu.
But now, Mike, we're seeing these Ghanaians a little bit more involved on the bust out. They're taking their chances going forward. Feeling a little bit more confident now that they've got that tying goal.
You saw as Neil mentioned, the accidental boot to the head to Owusu. So here comes Richmond again with the free kick. And Owusu lofted that one. That's headed up in the air and out of play. It'll be a goal kick for Columbus. Hey, Columbus fans, don't forget you can join the Columbus Crew SC Foundation for their inaugural Foot Golf Classic. That's coming up on Sunday, July 26th at the Trout Club. All proceeds from this event will benefit the Crew SC Foundation. If you'd like to get some more information or to register, visit columbuscrewsc.com/footgolf, and I believe you're going to be participating in that, right? That's the new fad from what I understand.
Normally I'd bust out my driver, yes, but I will give foot golf a try. It's a lot of fun. I've heard good things about the course.
Yeah.
And all the players can be involved with that, and we'll have a good time.
That'll be a great opportunity for the Columbus fans to come out and visit with some of the members of Columbus Crew SC, I'm sure. Here's an opportunity. That shot attempt blocked away, but still going. And then chested down by Yambi and cleared. I think that was Basso that had the block on the first attempt by Bedell. Good stuff here by Columbus Crew SC. Ball is lofted in. There's a cross, and Basso clears that out of play to be a throw-in for Columbus Crew SC.
First, that's a great job by Pogatetz to step up, keep that in the attacking half. You see some of the quality of a guy like Ben Spees on that touch, turn and burn to get toward the byline. But Richmond up to the challenge of cutting it off before the 6.
Here's Kevin George off now to Wall. He's got some options. They head it down for Bedell, and now Owusu just flicks it forward for Garner. And that 50-50 ball is won by Crew SC. Good cross here. And Taylor had it for a moment, and the follow-up shot is in the back of the net from number 13, Finley. Or did they call it? Nope, they did call it a goal. Yep. Taylor kind of juggled it, and that's what you want your other teammates to do, is just be right there on the door to nudge home the rebound, and that's what Finley did, Neil. Yeah,
and you can do the part, and this is where MLS teams, or any good teams with finishers and confidence in front, will make you pay for mistakes. And that's just communication. The spacing between Roberts on that ball in front of Taylor, a little bit of a distraction, an easy tuck home for Finley.
Kind of like what Columbus had down here with Stuver and his defender, but Taylor juggled it, and like I say, I like you easy tap in for Finley, and this is a big goal late in the first half.
Sure, and goals, momentum changers, goals that if you're the lower division side, you don't want to give up because you can't afford to continue to make those mistakes and expect to win.
So we'll see, again, Neil, we'll see how Richmond responds as Finley gets the goal to put Columbus atop. Here's another opportunity, and Troyer plays it forward. And that was nudged away from him by Wall. It'll be Schiffman throwing it in. Now he's going to let Troyer throw it in.
That's some good interplay with Jimenez and Finley. It's pretty much the duo out on that right-hand side now for Columbus in league play after the departure of the Argentine Hernan Grana.
That's a good ball from Wall as he heads it forward. Here's Finley going to the end line. Troyer challenges him, and Finley got around him, still battling, and it's still in play. And now they're going to say, no, it's not. It's a corner kick. Good work that time by Finley.
Yeah, here's the beauty of his motor. It just continues. It might be late in the first half, late in the second. He can run for days, and his energy right now has been a big catalyst to why they've retaken the lead here with just over a minute and a half to play.
And the Red Army not happy with that decision by our center referee. There's Spees with a good corner kick. And that one, ooh, that didn't miss by much. Bedell slammed that header just wide. That was a well-executed corner kick.
That's a free header. Richmond defenders, traffic cones, not moving. You get Bedell to rise. Got to tuck that in, or at least put it on frame.
So Ryan Taylor will handle the goal kick for Richmond. 2-1, Columbus on top, getting that late goal here in the first half. Here's a look at the Red Army. Tremendous fan support here at Richmond. And heaven help you if you have to have a corner kick in that corner, because they will let you know what they think of you if you're the opposition. Here's Wall playing it back. Rolled over on the far side. Again, winding down this first half. This is the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup 4th round. Mike Neville and Neil Sika along with you. Again, Neil is the play-by-play voice of the Columbus Crew, and he will take over the play-by-play duties in the second half. And I'll just sit back and watch.
I need you, man. I need you.
Possession now for Columbus. Ball played forward that time by Barson. Here's Barson again with possession for Columbus. Columbus Crew SC. Again, this is their opening match of the U.S. Open Cup. Nice little give-and-go attempt, but Roberts stepped in the path, and now Taylor sends it forward.
Great to see the field expanded this year. Record 91 teams.
Yeah. So I got 1 minute of stoppage time. Quick restart here. Here's Finley. And Finley still dancing with it. And Owusu, who's still down. He stuck his, I'm not sure what happened, but good to see him up now. Walking around. And we've got a second soccer ball that's on the field. Now so we'll throw in for Crew SC. Here's Wall. And Wall will play it back. Over to Barson. Rolls it ahead for Tashani. Ooh, good ball into the, ooh, boy, Yambi just read that. That was dangerous. There were two Crew SC members right there.
Yeah, I think there was a little crosstown traffic with Bedell's run kind of merging into Hector Jimenez, but solid 5 minutes to end the half for Crew SC. Off of a Richmond mistake, they're able to retake the lead and go in with a little bit more conviction into the locker room.
So Columbus jumped out in front 1-0. Bedell getting the goal to make it 1-0. Richmond responded with a goal from Owusu off a free kick. And then as Neil mentioned, in the last 5 minutes, it was Columbus striking again as Finley was just like a hockey player, just waiting for a rebound, and he got it after Taylor juggled a shot across, and he tapped in the open net, tapped the ball in for the 2-1 lead. So, Neil, your impressions. First of all, let's talk about Columbus. I thought, like I say, they control play for probably now about 75% of the time.
Yeah, and outside of the lack of concentration on that free kick and the indecisiveness, they played their game, come on the road in an environment where the crowd's going to be amped up. And for Richmond, they show why they're a team that's had success in the past, not only in this competition but in league play. They're resilient. They say, all right, you play your style. We're going to take our chances when we get that opportunity. Key for Columbus in that second half, a positive start, quick ball movement, get that third goal before Richmond can find the second.
Exactly. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. You are watching the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup 4th round from City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia. 2-1 Columbus at the break. Stay with us. And welcome back. The U.S. Open Cup fourth round here at City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia. Mike Neville and Neil Sika along with you as we get you ready for the second half. 2-1, Columbus Crew SC on top. And Neil, a big goal by Columbus to at the end of that first half to grab the 2-1 advantage.
Yeah, here you see the free kick goal from Owusu that ties things up in the 25th minute at 1, officially the 24th minute. After Columbus had taken the lead off a Bedell header, the Red Army fired up in the opening 45 minutes. Kickaroo, right?
Yes,
he was excited. But Jimenez doing some good work here. A teasing ball where Roberts and Taylor can't converge, and Finley is able to clean up the remnants to retake the lead in the 42nd, giving Columbus the boost and the one-goal ledge heading into the locker room.
And they did that with Richmond at times making some nice counter runs and some opportunities as well. So that's why I think that was such a big goal to get for Columbus Crew SC at the end of that first half to grab this 2-1 advantage. What do you expect here in the second half on Columbus's side?
I'm interested to see the start, the first 15 minutes. That's been a problem in league play. The second half was better overall against the LA Galaxy on Saturday, continuing that momentum, going for the throat, that third goal, and not allowing Richmond to hang around, build some confidence again to maybe tie this game up at 2.
And Richmond will probably, I would think, 3 of their top 4 scorers are on the bench to start this contest, meaning Matthew Delicott, Jason Yeisley, and George Davis IV. I would expect those guys to be inserted in the lineup either at the start of the second half or real quickly into the second half.
Yeah, they need more production up front when they get out on the counter. They've had Asante and Owusu get going with their wheels toward the back end of that first half. But, Mike, you got 14 goals sitting on the bench from league play. So preserving them, managing the minutes, talking to Lee Kalashaw, he wanted to make it a game where it was going to be competitive, but his mind is on Wilmington on the weekend here at home in league play and continuing off to their solid start, which is at 6-2-6 through the opening quarter pole of the season.
All right, so we're going to turn you over to the voice of the Columbus Crew SC, and we're, like I said, real pleased to be working with him. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Neil Sika.
Thanks, Mike. Great to be with you. And your hospitality, stunning evening it has become here in Richmond. Really comfortable and a good crowd on hand. 102nd edition of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. 2 wins for the Kickers, leading them into this round. Houston Oldham has come onto the field for Asante to start this second half for Richmond. Oldham played collegiately at Richmond before the program went defunct 2 years ago. Lee Kalashaw actually coached in that final season. The ball knotted out by Wall, 3 in the back primarily for Columbus. Stuver is the keeper as Columbus will attack left to right on the screen, and Richmond and that traditional kicker red. And Oldham with his body trying to get some hold-up play, looking to have it pay dividends early as Stuver looking to wiper blade that away for a corner.
Nice
and
job
the pace early.
Yeah, nice job by Mike Callahan on that one to send that one across. And it's going to be a corner kick for Richmond, their first of the evening.
Now the steady feet of Callahan. He's been here for a while now.
Yep. And
the team captain gives the Kickers an early corner kick a minute into this second half. Columbus entering the competition. The round of 32 was previously the third round, but with more teams qualifying, it's been bumped to the fourth. It's played short. Garez, Owusu, pinged it to the back. It was a good look. Callahan slams it, though, toward Fredericksburg.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Richmond does not usually show that corner kick, the short corner, Neil. It's Owusu trying to drop it in. Of course, there was no Deli or Yeisley, but they did have Yambi and Roberts up there who have some size. But kind of surprised Richmond went with the short corner, and it almost paid dividends.
On the nod back from Bedell, and Spies will lump it forward. Well, getting your perspective, the Kickers' perspective in this deficit, they've scored a lot of goals, though this might be a little out of their zone from how they play in league play. But what are you expecting from them in the second 45?
Well, I think just like what you said, they've got to pick up the pace a little bit, and I think we're seeing that by Richmond.
Yes, Garner with the run to the byline. Wall will block that.
So I would expect them to try to pick up the pace, and I'm not sure if that's going to play into Columbus's hands, though, because that you might be a little susceptible in the back end and give up some opportunities for Columbus if you if you try to be a little bit more quicker with the ball and pick up the pace a little bit.
Kevon George got the ribs of Callahan, and the foul gives this set piece opportunity. Very observant, too, of Columbus's minutes here and how they approach maybe conserving some energy. They've shown they can counter. But Richmond with a bright start in the opening 3 minutes of this second half as they trail by a goal. Guerres teased it to that near post. And the run of Roberts, not able to catch on to it.
And that's what we were expecting in the first half, Neil, out the free kick that eventually led to the goal. The first goal that Richmond has tonight, or the only goal they have tonight, was we thought maybe Guerres would take that, and Owusu ended up taking and getting the goal. This time Guerres, who's so good at dropping those free kicks in the box, just missed hooking up with Hugh Roberts.
Same 11 as they began for Crew SC. Wall, who had some spot moments at the left back role early in 2014, but paired down the stretch with Michael Parkhurst in central defense. Chani on a yellow. Bedell and Finley, the Columbus goals in the first half. Owusu in between. Third meeting all time, a win per side. Columbus with that victory on their run to the title in 2002. And then the stunning run by Richmond in 2011. They bowed out in the semifinals to Chicago, but beat Columbus and Kansas City in the process. And doing that on the road.
That's an impressive resume right there, I'll tell you. And that is for one of the reasons we've talked about the success of the Richmond Kickers here in Richmond, Virginia, is because of the success they've had, not only in the U.S. Open Cup, but also in USL play. They've been a perennial playoff participant in USL play.
Troyer played it out. And this is Barson. Started that game last year in the opening round at his alma mater, Akron. Chani lays it down the tracks, but too much for Steindorsen, the Icelandic winger. 5 minutes into the second half. Wilmington on the weekend for these Kickers. Columbus back in action a week from tonight. A midweek affair against New England at Mafre Stadium.
I'm sure that will get a lot of attention from Columbus fans. I'm sure they'll be ready for that one. They always show great support for Columbus Crew SC.
That rivalry ratcheting up, going back to last year where they played 5 times, including the postseason, as the Revs made the run to MLS Cup, only to lose to L.A. It's a good ball by Steindorsen, finding George as they work it across to this near wing. Jimenez. Columbus looking to settle back on the ball here. Callahan. Owusu.
I like the quick decision-making here by Richmond on this possession. They're really quick one-touch passes. They're not messing around trying to dribble through people. They're just laying it off.
Roberts showing some versatility. And this is a good build-up with Callahan now stretched wide. Fed it across well. Nate Schiffman had a goal in that first win against Virginia Beach City, against the 4th Division side. Then the Jacksonville Armada came to town on the 27th, and a 3-0 pasting. It was over with 30 minutes to play.
That was a good build-up by Richmond, but then they kind of just gave it away at the end. There was nobody in sight. That ball was easily handled by the goalkeeper.
Columbus at 4-6-5 in MLS play, sitting in 6th in the East. Wall surveying.
And we mentioned in the first half, the back line here for Columbus Crew SC has really had all kinds of opportunities to just survey the field and kind of just pick out where they want to go with the ball. There's not a lot of pressure coming from Richmond.
Well put. Barson. But Richmond content to send everyone behind the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'll need to push forward. At some point, they trail by a goal. It's Wall. Amongst 3, this is Bedell. And the big man from Michigan The Detroit suburbs has at last go off of him by the view of Kevin Terry Jr., whose father, Kevin Terry Sr., MLS Referee of the Year in 2002.
He's got a good gene pool to work
That's
with
right
there.
A lot to live up to.
Yeah, exactly. I bet he wasn't happy Dad got that award.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you watched any of the games last night, especially the latter two, all you're hoping for is consistency and not card confetti, which Clint Dempsey so aptly decided to put on display in a wild affair in that Cascadia showdown, won by Portland. Here in the 53rd, it's Spies.
Neil, you brought up a good point earlier about both coaches tonight, Lee Collishaw for Richmond and the Columbus Crew SC coach, as far as time and minutes. There's it's
a crafty little chip by Finley, who's run off of Bedell in support as he stays interior. And a goal kick for Ryan Taylor, who's become the bell cow in goal for the Kickers. Minute 54, Columbus 2-1.
But like I was saying earlier, because they've got league matches coming up, obviously, and they want to, keep guys fresh and obviously try to avoid injury. But so it'll be interesting to see. Like I say, we got Deli and Yaisley and George Davis the fourth on the bench. You would think we're approaching 60 minutes, 55, but you would think shortly they would hop off the bench. But again, the big picture is for both these teams. Yes, they want to win this very prestigious U.S. Open Cup, but also they want to do well in Major League Soccer for Columbus Crew SC and of course USL for Richmond.
It was a great tackle by Wald to start this sequence, and the flighted ball across the field to Jimenez. Finley stays on side and was looking to maybe pick out Bedell. Steindorsen had flashed, goes back to Richmond.
He hammered that cross, didn't he? That had some pace to it.
He was excited that he had managed to stay along the line. Jimenez.
And he might have been surprised he was that open.
Yeah. Now the Kickers offensively, they have 22 goals. That's fifth in USL play. They're ninth in goals conceded with 15. Columbus -1 in the goal differential department in league play. Chani, another long stretch. Finds Steindorsen. On the take inside, Bedell cannot muscle Yambi. Guerres kind of blindly hit that to the middle.
He's fortunate that ball came to a Richmond player because that was just... like you said, well put, Neil, just blindly threw it across the middle.
That was savvy from Gardner. There's Oldham. Weak in the end. Easy for Stuver.
Yeah, again, good build-up by Richmond, like you said, Neil, but just a very weak effort at the end. And when you're playing the caliber of team that you're playing in the Columbus Crew SC from Major League Soccer, you can't make those mistakes. You've got to put something on frame. You've got to make the goalkeeper work a little bit. And I just a little disappointed in the last couple of opportunities Richmond has shown on the offensive end. 2
subs remain for Richmond, 3 for Columbus. Clutie, Campbell, Gall, Merrim, Schoenfeld, Saeed at the disposal. Lamson is the backup keeper. League leading assist man Finley. He's given Columbus the lead here tonight, late in the first half. But surrounded by Red and Yambi, who tries the outlet. George, a little bit of a hug for Owusu.
Yep.
And it's going the other way. Lee Collishaw has brought on Houston Oldham, the 24-year-old. Chris Durkin, another Kicker Academy player. Alex Lee back from Guam. What a story.
Yeah. Huh?
They have won 2 games to lead their group so far. Now, it's early days in Asian qualifying for the World Cup in the second round. But both those wins on home soil against India and Turkmenistan. And Lee went the full 90 in both. 4 caps now for the Maryland product. The 2 was on the Dallas roster in 2012. He's on the bench tonight. Didn't play a minute in his MLS days, but been vital for this Kickers team.
He's a solid contributor, very dangerous on those crosses, and a very heady player. And like you said, he was missed when he was on national team duty, but glad to see him back. And obviously the national team of Guam thought something of him because they played him the full 90 minutes, and he's done well.
Next dead ball will get that second Kicker sub. Meanwhile, Spies trying to look for an opportunity to extend the lead. Jimenez on a first-time instep, but Owusu is there to clean it up. Pogatetz and Oldham, similar hairstyles, but the Austrian wins that challenge. Finley, Jimenez, and Yambi redirecting that in the path of his own keeper, and in the end they'll concede a corner. As we close in on 2/3 of the way through from 86-year-old City Stadium in Richmond. Doesn't look a day past 85.
That's right. George Davis IV is going to come on here for Lee Collishaw, replacing Sasha Gares. And I would think on the Columbus side, if they get a 3-1 lead, I think that's when you'll see some substitutions come the Crew SC way.
Gares has been here for 11 years. He's now an assistant coach.
I thought you were going to say he's been here for 86 years.
He might be.
It seems that way sometimes.
Well, they'll go defense for offense. The Lima native is on now as Chani's in the middle of that traffic. Troyer defends well. The South Carolina Gamecock.
Well, that was just good pressure on Yambi. He had nowhere to go with the ball.
Excellent job by Finley as kickers fail to clear their lines, and Columbus to keep it toward this attacking end.
And, Neil, that doesn't happen often where Yambi is forced to just toss the ball out of play because he's usually pretty smart of where he wants to go with the ball, but there was just such a well-defended play. There was 3 Columbus Crew SC guys, players that just had all avenues of passing lanes shut down.
One-time teammates Barson and Spees, the homegrown products team up there. Got to the middle, found Bedell on the reinstall as Oldham had trouble dealing with it. And now Roberts is down inside the penalty area. And they will call for the athletic training staff as we hit the hour mark here in Richmond.
Thought he was clutching close to his knee, but nice to see him up on his feet now. Thought maybe at first it was a cramp, but whenever you're dealing with leg injuries, you hope it's not a knee, and it doesn't look like it is. Like I say, he's up, and that's a good sign. And now he's hopping around, so hopefully nothing serious. Because like I said, Roberts has played extremely well tonight.
So Roberts, who's in his second year with the club, started collegiately at George Mason. Been very consistent, earning 6 starts in the USL season with 11 appearances.
Deli and Alex Lee are warming up behind Ryan Taylor behind the Richmond goal, so I'm sure they will be making an appearance here in the next 5 or 10 minutes at the most.
Pogatetz trying to win the aerial. Got redirected briefly off of Davis. And it flees now to Steindorsen. Chani, a little hesitant. And the back tackle by Garner, with help from Schiffman, starts this movement. Owusu, Davis, Callahan. Crafty, but in the end, George in the right spot to block it. Much better from the kickers.
Again, back to that short passing game that was so successful in the first half.
Basso looking for Garner. He has a couple of goals in league play. I've seen this Columbus team a time or two with Dayton, where he spent over 3 seasons there and went out west for the tail end of last year's USL season.
Another player that wishes he was 6'5" at that time, because that ball sailed over his head, much like Asante in the first half.
Columbus taking the lead with 3 minutes to play in the first half. And we push inside the final 30. Of course, what makes this knockout competition so grand, should we be tied at the end of a full 90, we'll go to the extra time session of 30 minutes. If that can't be decided, penalties.
And Columbus Crew SC does not want that after a long bus ride down.
Yeah, that game extended last year against Indy, down a man in Akron. before prevailing, and then went to extra time to lose in Chicago down a man, 4-2. Two-time finalist, one-time champion. Ooh. What a finish, Bedell. Will they wave it off? No. Adam Bedell with the brace, and in fine fashion in the 63rd.
That was a great shot. He had, again, time to tee it up. And I saw the assistant referee's flag up. That's why I was wondering when you, Neil, if they were going to count it. But it does count, and that's a huge goal now. 3-1.
So a kiss off the crossbar for the big bad Bedell. And a 2-goal game here in this Open Cup 4th round. The round of 32.
Well, we talked in the
restitution from a year ago, and he's given Columbus a 2-goal lead.
We talked in the first half, Neil, about big guys being able to have touch on with their feet, and Bedell did a nice job of settling that ball and lining himself up and really showing good composure and poise to just stop and just drill a shot.
Now with just over 25 minutes to play, Callahan back quickly to the other end, trying to loop it for Owusu. So Bedell with his second. And it comes at a big moment. What a smash and what a save.
Basso.
And Stuver comes to life to spear it away. It's a corner kick for the Kickers. So this game has come to life over the last 90 seconds, as Bedell has put Columbus up 2. Owusu with the corner kick.
And Neil, just like after the Crew grabbed that 1-0 lead. Crew SC grabbed that 1-0 lead. Richmond came back, and Columbus settles in and thinks this thing is over. And Richmond's not going to give up, that's for sure.
He did scramble off of the Kickers' second corner kick of the game. It ends with no danger for the black and gold as Stuver will play it on out. Now, USSoccer.com, your full source for coverage of the 2015 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Follow coverage of the tournament on Twitter at Open Cup. They do a fantastic job. It is 3-1 Crew SC here.
We saw the replay of that goal by Bedell, and the question was, did the entire ball go over the goal line? And it certainly did.
Yeah, that was the hesitation.
Yep, exactly.
When is City Stadium getting goal line technology, right?
Let's see, it's 86 years old. I think we might have another 86 years before we get there.
Of course, this has been home to Richmond football and University soccer team playing here for a time or two. Greg Berhalter played here in a friendly with the United States against New Zealand in 1999.
Yeah, what are they? It's a venerable old building, a.k.a. old.
Jimenez, good run on by Steindorsen to keep it alive. Flinging it to the middle. Yambi deals with it. Barson.
Good job by Barson to step up.
A little bit of a dummy there, and Jimenez, off the Chani layoff, was looking for Bedell, who's sitting on the hat trick. He had a pair of goals in the regular season last year. Substantial action this year, coming on loan to Austin, Columbus's USL affiliate. Played 3 games, started 2. Big night from him tonight with 2 goals and a 2-goal lead with inside of 25 minutes remaining.
And Neil, the way Columbus Crew SC is reacting, they're not content with this 2-goal lead. They're ratcheting it up to pressure.
Yeah, they'd love a 4th. Davis leaks free on this near side. Young man from Lima, played at Bowling Green in Kentucky in his collegiate days. There's a collision with Owusu and Finley.
Yeah, I think Owusu threw a stray elbow that caught Finley.
And a little bit of a yap from the defensive midfielder. He really kind of retooled his game when he was in Charlotte. He played more in the attack his college days at VCU, but has been solid sitting back deeper in front of the back line. He started a few breaks tonight. Guy who has the goal that may stand as the game winner at the moment is Ethan Finley. He's going to come off as Bedell. And another look at his goal. A little look at that, wondering if it might have taken a partial deflection. off of Schiffman. Tough to tell from that angle, but it stands as Bedell's right now. Justin Merrim will replace Ethan Finley in the 68th minute. So the first substitution for Columbus.
Well, there was a lot of jawing going on, Chani and Owusu, and then Yambi came in, gave a little shove to Chani, and so things were getting a little heated there with that situation.
Cross-continental love.
That's right.
Cameroon-born. There's a couple Ghanaians on this roster for Lee Collishaw and Richmond. Yambi is from Cameroon. Basso has this throw in the 68th. Now the Kickers have West Brom coming to town on Sunday, July 19th. They had a great crowd last year for their game against Crystal Palace, who also visited Mafre Stadium. Get your tickets today at richmondkickers.com. That's Sunday, July 19th. Hard foul on Owusu.
Yeah, I think that was Kevin George that, and Owusu is still slow to get up.
On his knees while Taylor smashes this. Pogatet's in a duel with Oldham.
Owusu did not play in the game Saturday night because of yellow card accumulation. So he did not play against Montreal FC. And this is about the second or third time he's gone down tonight, Neil. And this time, unfortunately, he's staying down.
This is where the anxiety will set in in this competition. Still early on, when you get towards an opportunity to maybe win the title in the late rounds. Whether you're an MLS club, a USL club, you're always fearful of injuries, especially to those starters. But as Owusu walks to the sideline, it's a chance for a little water break for each club. Minute 70.
Well, it was good to see Owusu come off under his own power, and it looks like he's going to be okay and will re-enter. He's still hobbling a little bit, but the main thing is he's up and walking, and a little gingerly still, but like I say, it is good to see him come off on his own power.
Regardless of who advances in this game, there's a new part of the bracket once you get to the round of 16, almost like a pod setting to help with travel. So if you're looking at a bracket online, thinking that there might be a particular matchup, that is not the case. They will do some retooling after this round. Stuver under some pressure as Richmond tries to pick it up. They're down a pair. Here's the Cleveland State man. Jimenez up early. Basso, who's been all around, including starting his career in Germany. Part of that DC United Academy. He's 27. In his 8th pro season, and second here with the Kickers from Columbia, Maryland. Well, here's the fan favorite.
Yep.
The all-time leading goal scorer in Kickers history. When you're that good, they put
That's right. They put
a sign of you covering up 3 sections of stands as Matthew Delicott, who was the man with the heroic winner in Columbus back in 2011, comes on the field. 33-year-old is heading towards the twilight of his career.
Well, I'll tell you,
what a bright future in coaching down the road.
Yeah, last couple of years, he's found the fountain of youth.
Yes, he has. 6 goals this season. That's tied for 4th in the league. He had 16 last year, an MVP finalist, and a first-team All-USL Pro. Well, Pro has been dropped. USL just remains, and down on the ground is Yambi.
Well, you don't want to see that if you're a Richmond fan. As we mentioned, he quarterbacks that defense. I didn't see what happened, obviously.
No, I'm with you. It was away from where the ball was headed.
Yeah. He's asking to be helped up, which, again, is a good sign. But, again, looks like a leg situation. And maybe an ankle, but you hate to speculate. But nice to see him up, and he is flexing that right leg. And looks like he's going to be okay.
So some scares here in the second half for Owusu and William Yambi. Kickers have made all 3 of their substitutions. And it's getting later. 73rd minute, down by 2. Houston Oldham
He was trying to draw the foul, but the referee, center referee didn't buy it.
Kevin Terry Jr. has seen that before.
Yep.
So Barson will have the throw. Merrim playing a role that he was more accustomed to in his collegiate days at Michigan, kind of as that secondary striker. Spees looks for him over the top. Roberts on the back pass to Taylor. Pressure from Bedell, the 2-goal man. Forces that bad outlet, and Spees scorching it across. Goal kick in the end.
Well, a lot of times fans will ask, why do you put pressure on the goalie? Just for that reason right there. As you mentioned, Neil, a bad giveaway by Taylor led to an opportunity for Crew SC. We had a game here about 3 weeks ago when the clearing attempt by the goalkeeper, the challenge was made by the opposition, and it went off the back of the guy's back and into the back of the net, so you never know.
Chani getting gritty, but wins the ball. And a great pass upfield to Spees. Merrim, nifty little touch. With the oncoming run by Steindorsen, they're off course. Garner. Callahan, using those tools that made him such a steady player at North Carolina. Wide for Davis.
Nope.
George shut that down.
Good anticipation by George.
All the higher level clubs last night, with the exception of the league game played between Portland and Seattle, advanced, except it was looking like there could have been a big upset. And then San Jose and Chris Wondolowski tying it up late against the Sacramento Republic and forcing 15 penalties to be taken.
Wow.
Where San Jose prevailed. Tonight, DC and Pittsburgh united the affiliate, the big league affiliate of this Richmond club. It's tied at 1 on the 67th. New York City FC, they've won 2 in a row in league play. They are up 1-0 at the half on the New York Cosmos. Just a couple of NASL sides advancing to this round. Orlando and Charleston scoreless. New England and Charlotte without a goal. Jimenez offside. 15 minutes to play.
You mentioned Pittsburgh, probably the biggest surprise in USL, though, leading the Eastern Conference standings and playing a lot of one-goal games, but they hunker down defensively and they don't score a ton, but they'll get you in those 2-1, 1-0 games.
How about that wild game a few weeks back with Harrisburg City, huh?
Yes, sir.
Rising high, Delicate. They've got to get him involved, don't you think?
Yeah, most definitely. He's got to be the main target. He went down and he thought he drew a foul, no call. We keep playing on, but yeah, he's got to be the focal point of that offensive attack.
Such a clean finisher in front of goal, but can he get the service? Not when Chani has the ball. Spees, Merrim as they go narrow, but Roberts broke it up. Davis from Yambi. Garner. Poor first touch.
Yep. And again, good possession here by Columbus, but they're not just settling for that 3-1 lead. They're trying to put the nail in the coffin here.
We're talking earlier about that Richmond run in 2011. Last year, won a pair of games against 4th Division clubs before falling to New England in the round of 32, 3-2. Crew SC back in action at Mafre Stadium a week from tonight on the 24th. Beer and brat packs available, minimum of 2. ColumbusCrewSC.com. Troyer.
Just missed hooking up with George Davis, the 4th on that one.
Davis playing not only here but with LA. He was on loan to Orlando City in 2012. And had some time with Dayton too, but in their PDL days in 2010.
And Neil, I guess if you're looking for a surprise team in MLS, it would be the expansion Orlando
Absolutely.
City. They're playing well.
They've got the tools that position them nicely in a playoff position right now. Unbeaten in their last 5. And Kaká has been every bit of what they had hoped.
Had the game winner against DC United a couple weeks ago.
They've already played DC 3 times, finally beat them.
They're getting to know each other pretty well.
Pogatetz has been stout right there in that center channel. And he tries to lead the break for Steindorsen. He lets it go out towards Merrim. Troyer, well done. Garner. Richmond looking for a surge. Basso. Davis.
Closed off nicely that time by Columbus.
That's good support. Barson helping out Jimenez. Foul anyway. It goes back the other way.
Well, Neil, Lee Collishaw, the head coach for Richmond, probably the biggest disappointment so far has been it's a good build-up, as we've said many times tonight, for Richmond's offensive opportunities, but then the last pass or two just doesn't make it. It's a very weak pass and an easy turnover, and I think that's probably what is maybe more disappointing for him tonight.
The hardest part of the game.
Yep.
Lee Collishaw, great player here, 16 years now in the organization, player and coach. Director of soccer. He starred at the University of Richmond. Born in the Midlands, a couple hours north of London. Callahan. Basso. Good positioning, Jimenez. He deflected it. Spees, a juggling act.
Ooh.
A weak pass by Jimenez. Davis with some pace. Davis and Barson steady.
Good block.
Merrim and Columbus can't keep the ball. They're up 2, but need to do a better job of seeing it out. There's still 10 minutes to play. Yambi forward. Basso forces a corner.
I was wondering if he was going to be able to catch up with that pass. He did, and then banged it off the Crew SC player. And as you mentioned, Neil, it'll be a corner kick for Richmond.
I wonder if there's a little Crew SC fatigue setting in. There's a couple up off the bench that look to be ready to step onto the field for Greg Berhalter. But first, this Davis corner kick.
Ooh.
Wide from Oldham. He made a good run.
Yes, he did. Just knotted the header wide. And here come the substitutions.
Mohamed Saeed has been a very nice addition to this club here in 2015. Swedish midfielder will replace Kristen Steindorsen.
And Bedell is the other Columbus Crew SC player coming off, which is going to be a lot of smiles on the Richmond side for that, because he's been tremendous tonight, Bedell.
Bedell bagging a pair tonight.
Yep.
Big reason for this 2-goal lead. Finley the other. Owusu off a free kick. Scoring for Richmond. Well, the 1 goal here in the second half has provided some breathing room for Crew SC as Saeed a chance to run the wing. So all 3 substitutions have been made for Greg Berhalter and company. As Saeed, who's been prominent in that starting 11 now with the Will Trapp injury over the last couple of months.
Solid play a moment ago by Richmond's Braden Troyer, and we were talking to Lee Collishaw a couple weeks ago about him, and he said, man, he's having a solid season. He goes, I can't take credit for that. He goes, Sasha Gares is the one who found him, and he's been a solid contributor for Richmond.
Stuver. And that one slashing stop, but hasn't had a ton to contend with here in half number 2. Or much of the night for that matter. George. There's that pressure game. Delicat is the danger man, waiting to pounce on an opportunity. Barson, composed.
And, Neil, you can see Richmond's pressure. Obviously, they realize this thing is winding down. They've really picked up their high pressure on Columbus. But, again, nice job by the Crew SC to just keep their composure and work their way out of it.
Merrim has come all the way across to receive this, dropping off of Schoenfeld, who's the big target man now up top. Davis. stabbed at by Barson. That back three, they have done a fine job tonight for Columbus.
I think they've been terrific. Wall, Barsons, and Pogotets, they have been very solid in the back.
Night off for the likes of Steve Clark, Michael Parkhurst, the new dad, Kai Kamara. And this passing game here interrupted on the bad giveaway by Chani. Delicate freeze, Oldham too excited.
Yeah, yeah. That's good stuff from Columbus until they gave it away.
Yeah, don't want to be too casual.
Yep.
Minute 84. Here in the old Mother of the South. I'll tell you, I got about 5 or 6 hours down here, Mike, and for all the time I've spent in D.C. trekking down to Richmond, I've enjoyed just driving down Monument Ave.
Yeah, beautiful
neat little
city.
areas.
Yep, beautiful city.
Not too far from the James River is where we sit here at City Stadium. And Crew SC trying to advance to what is the 5th round, or round of 16, in the 102nd edition of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup.
Which I believe is the oldest tournament in the United States.
You got
soccer,
it.
Right? Yep.
Columbus's first trophy in 02, finalists in 98 and 2010. Stuver. A steady possession game here. Trying to tire Richmond. 5 minutes remaining.
Yep, trying to finish this one off by keeping possession and, like you said, Neil, playing keep away and doing a very good job of it right now.
Johnny's the man with the armband here tonight for Columbus. Stuver, not phased by Delicate. Looking for that battle at midfield with Schoenfeld. Trying to press on Yambi. Interesting, but it got back to Taylor in the end.
Yes, it did. Wasn't sure it had enough steam to get back there, but it did.
Davis bombing down the left. There's Pogotets. George, nifty little touch, Spies. Schoenfeld sprung from Merrim. Now takes it inside.
Ooh.
And what a stop by Taylor.
Good stuff. First of all from Schoenfeld, and then the save by Taylor as he cranked that left-footed shot.
Trying to salt this one away, up by 2. In minute 86, Merrim to the corner flag.
Here's a look at that shot again, Neil. Good job of cutting it to the inside, right there. And again, he gets that left foot free, and look at the dive to Taylor's left. Good stuff.
A little big celery showing that he's not afraid to switch up to the left. Use the other stalk.
He had good pace on it. Neil, I mentioned that Columbus trying to salt away this game with their possession. That's easier said than done. A lot of folks will think it's real easy, but it's not. You're concentrating, trying to maintain possession, but it's not as easy as it goes. But I think Columbus is doing a great job tonight of keeping possession and just keeping it away from the kickers.
More than anything, last year, Mike, this was their hallmark, the ability to keep the ball. There were many moments early in the season giving it up cheaply. There have been plenty of times where that's happened this year. But it's a good exercise in poise.
Yep.
Regardless if it's an MLS side or not, to close things out. Feeling confident with this 2-goal lead. Saeed, that just slithered past Schoenfeld. And the outlet quickly to Davis. 1v1 against Barson.
Good job by Barson. I don't think Davis thought I thought he had more room than he did.
But it sucked bodies inside, and it allows this break down the right. Pogotets. That was intended for Oldham. Davis off the volley. Schiffman. And now Callahan, who started that run out wide to the right. In front of his faithful Red Army. And he tees up Delicate. And a rare swing and a miss.
Deli wants that one back.
Their best look in quite some time.
Yep.
Schoenfeld with the freshest of the legs up there. Lobbed away defensively and then back by Barson. And Stuver will secure this in minute 88.
I would imagine we'll have a couple of minutes of stoppage time with the injuries that we've had, but
the Kickers in action here on Saturday. That's 7 o'clock, and you will have the action.
Yep, we'll have it on the USL,
right here.
The Kickers YouTube channel. Hopefully they can get back to their winning ways in the USL after that very disheartening scoreless draw with Montreal FC.
I want to thank all of our online viewers tonight from both clubs, watching on RichmondKickers.com, ColumbusCrewSC.com. Merrim looking to unleash that meat hook. Taylor in the end, nudging it aside, another corner.
Well, Taylor, unlike his counterpart, Stuver, he's been very busy here, especially in the last 10 minutes. As Columbus Crew SC will have another corner kick.
9 saves registered right now for the Richmond keeper. And it is the 6th Columbus corner. You're in minute 89. There's about a 10 to 13 day window for the next round of action.
Right.
And a coin flip will decide the hosting procedure. So not only the pod system of maybe having a geographic advantage to where you play, but Columbus would love to be at Mafre for their next round.
Well, I know the Columbus fans would love to see that. As we've mentioned several times tonight, both these franchises, Columbus and Richmond, well supported.
Well, Columbus went out back-to-back years in the round of 32. We've already talked at length a little bit about that Richmond win in 2011. Dayton beat them the following year and then advanced to the round of 16 each of the last 2 seasons. Made that run to the final against Seattle in 2010. We are in second half stoppage time. The Bedell goal is added to the lead, which Columbus had at the break. Foul here.
Yep.
Four minutes of second half stoppage time.
Well, I was way off. I had half of it.
Oh, fouls. Well, then you were right on. I was asking the fouls. There was some miscommunicado as Stuver has to come out. Nevertheless, great job by our production crew tonight.
Yeah, as always.
As you know it firsthand from each game. Here's a build-up. Callahan!
Well, how many times have we seen that from Richmond? They get right there and then blow it over the goal. Got to put it on frame. That might be another difference tonight as the Columbus plays. We mentioned the Finley goal came off putting it on frame where the ball was juggled by Taylor and Finley dropped it into the empty goal.
Solid crowd on hand on this Wednesday night. With the dying ambers here at City Stadium. And what appear to be some dying light bulbs in most cases. With the beauty of this old lady. Can find some charm in everything, right?
Oh, yeah, you got that right.
Wall.
Treat the elderly kind.
Saeed and Chani.
Yep, they're just knocking it around and letting the clock run.
There it is.
Run all the way to the end.
It was 2 in the end in second half stoppage time. That is the margin of victory for Columbus Crew SC here in the 4th round, the round of 32 of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, 102nd edition. Columbus will move on. They'll await their fate after the conclusion of this round later tonight. 2 goals from Bedell, 1 from Finley. Owusu with the goal for Richmond. 3-1 is the final score as Crew SC, a little restitution from that 2011 loss at Maffrey Stadium. Back in action on Wednesday, the 24th, against the New England Revolution at Maffrey Stadium. The Kickers have Wilmington on Saturday here. Mike Neville, thank you for being so kind. We'll let you take him home.
All right, buddy. We're going to take a real quick break, then we'll come back, wrap up, get Neil's thoughts about Columbus's performance, and I'll give you my thoughts about the Kickers' performance. 3-1, Columbus Crew SC with a victory. Back with a wrap-up here at City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia. Stay with us. Good job, buddy.
Hold on.